Streamlining comes in all shapes and sizes. In this case, streamlining for me comes in the shape of equipment. Now I have plenty of cameras, probably more than you think. This camera I'm using right now is my primary camera. It's a Panasonic Lumix G85 with a 14mm lens on it. I have a second Panasonic G85 that I picked up, so that way when I'm doing a live stream, I can have this camera right here, as well as this other camera, which is behind my computer. I can use it as a webcam of sorts. I was using that as a camera. And I have an iPad Pro, which I was also using as a camera. I tend to use these more often than not with my A10 Mini Pro as secondary or third or fourth camera devices, mainly to showcase stuff that I'm doing on those devices. I did used to use the iPhone 12 Pro as an overhead camera with an Archon mount, but I'm getting away from that. And there's a reason. This is where the streamlining comes in. I had another camera, a Panasonic GX850, which is great for photography, shoots 4K, video too, all that stuff, but it did not have clean HDMI out, so I couldn't live stream with it. And it also didn't have a microphone jack, so I had to rely on the onboard microphone, and the onboard microphone on that camera is not very good. In fact, most onboard microphones, if not all of them, are not good on cameras. I wanted to have something I could take with me. Low profile like the GX850, but I wanted it to have at least a bit better of an onboard microphone, but also the capability to add another microphone like the Rode that I'm using right now, or a lavalier or something like that. But I also wanted one that could be used with interchangeable lenses. That's why I got this guy. It's the Panasonic Lumix G100. I can also use this as an overhead camera. I can use it in live streaming situations because it has clean HDMI out. So I got rid of the GX850 as one of my cameras, but I also got rid of another camera that I no longer required either in order to streamline this process. Again, taking into account the A10 Mini Pro. Now the A10 Mini Pro allows me to live stream with 4 cameras. It's a device I've really only scratched the surface with, but I was watching Nick Milo present during his Linking Your Thinking cohort, which I'm part of. And the look he had as he was presenting was that creamy film-like look that I really, really enjoy, that I get out of certain cameras, like the Lumix G85 here. Well, I have a Lumix G85 right over there, and it goes to the A10 Mini Pro, and the A10 Mini Pro is hooked up to my computer so I could live stream with it. So why not use the G85 as my webcam? Now I had to tinker with some settings and make sure that there wasn't going to be any latency with audio and things like that. But by making this happen and testing it with a few of my trusted friends, I was able to make it work. And that means the Logitech Brio 4K camera that I have that was strictly a webcam is now also no longer required. I've essentially eliminated 2 cameras and have added one to the mix, one that I think is going to be more versatile. So when you're thinking about streamlining, it's really important to kind of figure out why and what the benefits are of making that happen. Sometimes we streamline just for the sake of streamlining, and that's not really what you want to be doing. I could easily have been making videos while I was streamlining, but I know that by taking the time to streamline and figure out what I want that workflow to look like and coming up with a better one that's going to be more productive, I'm going to be able to make better videos going forward. And I'm going to be able to have a better workflow going forward as well. The practice of streamlining, I think, is a valuable one. I don't suggest that it's something that you do every day. I think it's kind of like a spring cleaning thing where you assess your tools, you assess your workflow, and you see what you can take away or what you could add to the mix, or a bit of both. I'm going to paraphrase a popular Bruce Lee quote here, but it's absorb what's useful, discard what isn't, and add your own. And that's really what streamlining, to me, is all about. Taking away 2 cameras that really were redundant in a lot of ways, and being able to also offer them to people who could make better use of them. And then adding one to the mix that I think is going to heighten this filmmaking experience is a big win for me. So when you do this, when you streamline, you really need to ask yourself, am I streamlining for a purpose, or am I just streamlining to avoid something else? I could argue that making this video actually further validates the streamlining that I did. I think this camera, plus getting rid of the other ones, definitely does it for me as well. Streamlining, I think, is something that we all need to take a bit more time to do. Setting aside some time to do it is a wise move. Just make sure that you're not streamlining just for the sake of avoiding something else that you really should be doing instead. I think I'll be able to do a lot of great things with this. See you later.